at one point in this movie, Yetis show up, and my first thought is like, what the fuck? Like, helper Yetis? Helper Yetis? Hello, welcome to Blockbuster Review. If you don't know what that is, it is where I play a single game of Tetris Marathon and try and review a film before the blocks reach the top or until 150 lines. Spoilers are at line 50. So The Mummy, The Curse of the Dragon Emperor, The Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, or just Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. It's the sequel to The Mummy Returns. Now, like many people, I enjoyed The Mummy when I was a lot younger, and I watched it a lot. I watched The Mummy 2, The Mummy Returns a lot, but I had never seen a frame of Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, and it wasn't even out of this, like, reverence for the original two. I didn't love them like I know other people did. To me, it was more of... It was more of a, like, I hear it's bad and I don't have interest, so why would I watch it? I recently saw that all of those Mummy movies were on Hulu, and to celebrate Brendan Fraser, you know, coming back to acting, possibly winning Oscars, you know, being the overall man, I was like, you know, let's give it a watch. What's the worst that could happen? I didn't like it, and that's okay. You know, we don't need to love every movie, and we don't need to hate on them either. I did not like this one. One, you know, the big elephant in the room, they recast Evie, which is fine. You know, the Marvel Universe recasted War Machine, and the Hulk, and the way they did it, I think, is the right way to do it. You recast them, you don't spend a lot of time on it. Maybe you throw in a quick joke, but you don't highlight it, and that is what this movie did. It highlit that Maria Bello was taking over as Evie, and that's, you know, it's fine. It just was like, it was one of those things where I kind of would have preferred, yep, here she is, and we'd be like, okay, that's the new one. It happens all the time in older movies. I mean, you think about, like, James Bond, you think about the Nolan Batmans, when they recast Rachel. It's one of those things where it's like, just do it, and then we'll be fine. There's another big thing that bothered me about this film, and that is Rick and Evie's son, who you see in The Mummy Returns, Alex. He has a thick old British accent in that movie, in The Mummy Returns. Thick as all hell. Thicker than a Snicker, this English accent. And then in this movie, he just sounds like good old American apple pie. And it's kind of like a, what in the hell are you talking about? It also plays that game where it's like, Alex wants to be just as good as his dad. And you're like, okay, we get it. And then they play that through the entire movie, and then it's like this, oh, dad doesn't know how to communicate angle. It all seems very forced. It doesn't seem natural. It doesn't seem fun. It doesn't seem lighthearted like the other movies were. They were all fun romps, you know, the first two. I should probably talk about the story. Just like the other two mummies, they talk about this character who, you know, uses magic or mysticism to become this powerful figure in this time. Then something happens that puts him in an early grave. He vows to take over the world one day. It's the same basic shit, except this one is Jet Li as the Emperor, or as I like to, or really it's really horrible CGI Jet Li, who is like falling apart and then putting himself back together. It's very confusing what his curse is. You find out that there's these immortals that are protecting his ability to get to this certain area, which will make him truly immortal, but they're immortal. I don't know. It's kind of all over the joint, and it's weird because it has like this. It has the same structure as the other ones. It just doesn't feel right, and it's not on the actors. I'm not gonna blame Maria Bello. I'm not gonna blame Jet Li and possible Oscar winner Michelle Yeoh. They did just fine. It's just I think, and a lot of people talk about the magic or maybe the nostalgia, whatever it is, it's just not there. It's the same kind of CGI. Because straight up, at one point in this movie, Yetis show up, and my first thought is like, what the fuck? Like, helper Yetis? Helper Yetis? And then I remembered The Mummy 2, and it had, like, those tiny little, like, jungle dudes that just showed up, and it was just acceptable at that point. And in the original Mummy, I mean, obviously it was the Mummy, so there were multiple mummies. But those dudes just showed up and started wrecking shit, so it's like, these Yeti, it shouldn't be that surprising. But then the guy turned into like a dragon, like a literal dragon. I don't know, man. I got bored. Like, that's another sign that it just wasn't for you. Like, I got bored with the action scenes and the jokes within the action scenes. It was like the first Mummy and the second Mummy, you accepted the janky special effects. You accepted the like little ribbing jokes in between these very serious moments of action or suspense, drama, whatever. Like, in this one, it was very much kind of like a, okay. And there was so much emphasis on, like, oh my gosh, this family. What is this family gonna do? And it's like, they survived immortal beings. They'll be fine. It also has that, it also does that meta quality where the character of Evie wrote their stories into books, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, what crazy ideas. It's like, yeah, because it really happened to them, but they can't tell you because you'd be like, bullshit, so they wrote it in fantasy stories. But she's like pacing around at the beginning of the movie like, what am I gonna write about? I'm not inspired. And it's like, because you weren't inspired the first time. You just wrote down what actually happened. Go do some, you know, more fantasy shit. You know, whoa. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, I've already run out of things to say. I didn't really like it. I didn't like the dude playing Alex O'Connor. Brendan Fraser, you know, he brought it as hard as he could. I think he gave 110%. I think everybody gave 110%. It just wasn't doing it for him. And that's okay. I've always said a good movie is great and a bad movie is great because it tells you more about what you like about other movies. And Tomb of the Dragon Emperor didn't have it. Like Mummy and The Mummy Returns. That's it. It was on Hulu when I watched it. I don't know if it's still there. Either way, have a good one. Peace.